So hi, how you doing today?
Good, and you?
I'm doing great. And so how did our paths just cross right now? How did we just meet?
At the park right now. I was just eating my salad.
Absolutely.
Got off of work.
I disturbed her in the middle of eating her salad.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Just got off of work, just chilling, waiting for my cousins to come, and then you came along.
Absolutely. And what did I approach you about?
About mental health and mostly like my opinions on stuff like that.
Yeah, so it's three things: mental health, feet, reflexology.
There you go.
Cool. And so in terms of mental health, are there any topics you follow closely, you like kind of pay attention to?
To be honest, not really.
Okay.
I don't really focus on that.
Okay. So the mental health I'm going to talk about today kind of like centers around anxiety and depression.
Oh, okay.
And how people cope with that and deal with it. So I'll share some information with you that may be helpful to you. Okay.
Okay.
What about reflexology? You ever heard of it? Okay. So that'll be some great information for you to have because a lot of people don't know what it is. So be able to provide that to you. Okay. So let's start with the questions.
Okay.
What's something that you like that other people might find to be weird? And I'm using the term weird for a reason. It could just be a strange hobby you may have, and people might look at it like, oh, it's kind of strange. What is something like that you...
To be honest, I can't think of anything because I like, I like a lot of things that has to do with art.
Okay.
I like painting, I like coloring, drawing, and stuff like that. But other than that, I can't think of anything right now. Okay. That might be weird.
Okay.
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily have to be weird. It's just a hobby you have.
Something,
like, so for me, right, I like to watch anime.
Oh, cool.
And so I'm an adult, so some people may look at that like, oh, you're an adult, you watch anime.
Yeah.
I love it, so it's all good for me.
Okay.
So something like, you may have something like that. I had one girl I interviewed, she said that she likes Takis, but she'll like suck all the chili off and won't eat them. So that was something where she said that was something she had. So,
right.
Yeah. But if you don't have anything right now, we'll move to the next question.
Okay, let's move.
Has anyone ever made you feel insecure about your body or a body part before?
Yes.
Okay. Is that something you still deal with today, or do you kind of have a control over it now?
It was about like, I guess, acne marks.
Okay.
I guess when I was younger, years ago, I had a guy that I liked. He pointed it out, made me feel bad. And so when I got older, I was like, you know what, let me do the, what's that surgery called? Where they it's like a surgery, not a surgery, it's like a facial thing.
Okay.
Laser treatments.
Okay.
There you go.
Oh, sweet.
I did that. It was getting expensive, and I was like, you know what? F it.
Yeah.
You know what? It's fine. I was a teen. We all get acne. We all pick at it when we shouldn't. And his opinion didn't matter anymore. So I stopped. I was like, you know what? Who cares?
That's good. That's good.
That was one thing.
And that's the main thing I think a lot of times when we go through stuff like that, especially when we're young, it's hard to kind of have a frame of reference to like be able to deal with it. But you were able to kind of get yourself out of it because as you were going through the process of trying to get rid of it, you figured out for yourself like, is it really worth it?
I'm pretty.
Because we all have imperfections, right?
For sure.
But it's our imperfections that actually make us perfect. Like when we accept them, and we're like, forget what everybody else has to say. Yeah. As long as you accept it, so that's great. That's great. So you basically got over it because you were able to see like it wasn't worth it.
It wasn't worth it, and I was, I just thought to myself, I was like, you know what? I don't need his opinion to tell me like if that to value my beauty and stuff like that. So after that, I was like, who cares?
That's what's up. If you could change one thing about yourself, and it doesn't have to be physical, it could be anything you want. If somebody gave you the power, what would it be?
To change myself?
Yeah.
That's a good question. I never thought of that.
You probably have, but you just don't.
I don't really think. Maybe. Yeah, you're right. One thing I would change about myself. Probably not. Well, then again, probably not get a perm. When I was younger, I used to hate my curly hair. Okay. And I got a perm, and I like messed up my whole curls. But then again, I bleached my hair. I messed it up again. But that's one thing I do regret.
It's interesting because like, a lot
changed.
of dudes love curly hair. Yeah. Playing with the hair and stuff. You probably didn't know it back then, and that's
usually when you have curly hair, you want straight hair. When you have straight hair,
it's interesting, right? It's always crazy. We always want what we can't have, right?
Yeah.
All right, so here, let's get into these questions, okay? How do you feel about your feet? What are your thoughts?
I like my feet.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
I asked that because like I get different reactions. I just interviewed a lady right now, and she was like, didn't really know what to say, didn't really have. So I always like to ask, like, because everybody's different, right, in terms of that. Have you ever received any compliments before about your feet?
About my feet? Yes.
Men, women?
Both.
Both. Okay.
Yes.
In terms of compliments you get from men about that, how does it make you feel?
Kind of weirded out a little, just because I don't want them looking at it at the same time. You know what I mean? It's just like, don't look at my feet. But kind of weirded out.
Okay.
To be honest, yeah.
Let me ask you this.
It depends who also.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like the challenge back when I hear that with this. Is it any different from when you get a compliment about your hair, your eyes, your hands? Like if somebody came up and said that you had nice hair, your eyes were nice, or your hands were nice, would that be different?
I feel like it is, but I wouldn't know why.
Because they're still pointing out something, right?
Yes. I don't know. Maybe because it's not something we see a lot. Maybe you know what I mean? Yeah. Because we like to wear shoes, socks.
But we're saying like because you may be wearing flip flops and the guy walks up and he sees and he's like, hey, you have nice feet. Now we're saying now I do realize, and I hear this from a lot of women, that there's a difference like in terms of like the context. Because like some guys will say that, but then there's like other stuff added onto it. Whereas opposed to, I'm just saying like a guy walks up and says you have nice feet, he keeps it pushing. He doesn't say anything else after that. That would still make you feel weird?
I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's all good. Now, in terms of compliments, right, that you receive, not just about your feet, but in general, is there a difference in how you feel between like compliments you get from men and the compliments you get from women? Does it feel different?
Yes, a little.
Why is that?
I don't know. Maybe because I just prefer a women's opinion because I feel safer, I guess, or not weirded out.
Okay.
From like a guy's comment.
Now, would this be accurate? I'm going to describe something to you. So I interviewed someone before, and she said that a lot of times women are taught to be in competition when you're young and kind of like hate on each other. So when you get older and you receive compliments from other women, like it's held at a higher regard. It seems more sincere, as opposed to comments you may get from men, where a lot of times they're just giving you compliments to get something in return. Do you agree with that?
Not really, I guess.
Not really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I didn't grow up like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, no, but I'm saying like in terms of like, because you just said like you do take like women's compliments better.
Yeah. Maybe because I grew up with mostly girls. I didn't grow up with a dad or like male figures.
Have you ever experienced like guys giving you compliments and then like maybe to try to get at you, and then when it doesn't work, like they usually have something to say negative?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's more what she was saying. Yeah, in terms of that. That's what I'm trying to get to. Let me get back to my question. Oh, okay. How would you feel if you started dating somebody who's into feet? Would that be something you're okay with, or?
I think maybe to an extent.
Okay, so let me put context behind it. He just like he likes you for you, whole body, but he likes feet. He wants to give you like foot massages, rub on your feet, kiss on your feet, things like that. Is that stuff you're okay with?
I would be okay, but not like in public type of.
Yeah. No, we're talking about.
Oh, like
improv. Yeah.
I would be okay with it. Yeah.
Cool. When do you think is the appropriate time when you first start dating someone for you two to talk about the stuff you're into?
I would say probably the earliest stage, just so that you could know, or it doesn't catch you by surprise towards like the middle end.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
I get different reactions about this, so I always like to see where it goes. Every woman's different.
Right.
But like I would say the same thing too. Like I feel like the earlier the better, because if it's not gonna work out, I can keep pushing. You know. How often do you get pedicures?
How often?
Yeah.
Before COVID, probably every like twice a month, maybe.
Twice a month. Okay, so every 2 weeks or so.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of medical pedicures before?
No.
Okay.
Never
So
heard of it.
I interviewed a lady before, and she told me about it. So it's basically when you go see like a podiatrist, like a foot specialist. They basically will take a look at your feet, look at your nails to see if they're growing correctly, make sure your toes are aligned correctly, make sure you don't have any fungus, dead skin. They do all the work there for you. So it's different from a cosmetic, because cosmetic, they do trim your nails, but they don't really know the correct way to, like, because everybody's nails grows differently. So that's what they do. Like, now, would that be something you would look into, or?
That's interesting. Might as well like to figure out, you know.
Yeah.
If you have something else going on. Yeah.
Yeah, and they say you should go see somebody like that maybe every 3 months or so, just to like make sure your maintenance is correct. Cool. How often do you wear like open toe shoes, sandals, flip flops?
Not very often.
Are you more of a sneakerhead?
Yeah.
Is it for comfort or style?
Mostly for comfort.
Okay.
Yeah. When I dress out, like, you know, dress up and stuff, then I'll wear
sandals,
stuff like that. Yeah.
Cool. How often do you go barefoot?
I don't like going out barefoot. But
Really?
Yes, even at home, I don't like it.
You wear like socks or house
always
shoes?
Yes.
Really?
Even if it's carpet, wooden floors, I just don't like the feeling. Yeah.
Why is that? Because I get this from some people, like they just don't like the feeling of the floor.
I don't know if it's something I grew up.
Yeah.
Maybe.
That's what I wanted to get to. Like if maybe something happened as a kid where you're like, you associate the floor with something negative or something like that.
Maybe I stepped on something I didn't like.
Yeah. It's crazy.
But no.
All right. So now, can we see what your feet look like up close? Why not?
Because I haven't got them done.
Okay, so let me tell you this first.
Yes.
It's not about that.
Okay.
So as you can see how the interview is going, it's all to gauge like if you're still comfortable in the interview, if you can still continue to be comfortable. So now let me give you the mental health aspect, and we'll roll back around to it. Okay. So I got started with this because I was watching a guy's channel, and he was talking about DBT. Are you familiar with that?
What's that?
So it's a mental health practice. It's dialectical behavioral therapy. So it's for people who suffer from like anxiety, depression, people who like don't tend to live in the moment. So like they're presented with a situation and they start to overthink the situation, like where they're like, they think about all the negative things that could happen from that. So therapists prescribe for them. So let's say, for example, you had a fear of approaching strangers, like you were definitely afraid of that. They would have you go out and approach strangers, do it over and over again. It's exposure therapy. Get yourself used to that uncomfortable feeling that comes with it. And when you feel uncomfortable, to do a self-assessment and ask yourself, what's the worst that's going to happen in this situation, right? And if there's not anything that's going to be like a threat to your life or to your safety, do the opposite of what you're feeling in that moment and proceed, because you could experience like good events, good moments, things like that. So when I enter this portion of my interview, we're doing an impromptu interview. You didn't have time, like you didn't know I was coming.
Yeah.
You couldn't go get your nails done, nothing like that. But it's not about that. It's about gauging your comfort level to see if you can still be comfortable. Because like we said earlier, imperfections and all that stuff, why does it matter, right? As long as you're comfortable with yourself, that's all that matters. So now, can you still be comfortable, or is that something past your scope?
Showing my feet right now?
Yeah.
No.
It's past your scope?
I gotta charge people for that.
You gotta charge?
I'm just kidding. No, but it's not, I wouldn't feel comfortable.
You wouldn't feel comfortable?
No.
Is it because I'm a stranger? Your feet are not done? This is going on YouTube? It's a combination of all these things?
Combination of all of that.
Really? Really? Okay. All right. I respect that. So it's a comfort thing for you.
Yes.
Okay. So now let's get into the reflexology. Okay. Well, so first of all, before we get there, how are you feeling about this interview so far? Are you feeling comfortable?
I feel comfortable.
Cool.
Yeah.
Reflexology, right? So it's about the different pressure points you have in your hands and your feet. You have like a bunch of different nerve endings and pressure points that actually lead back to other parts of your body, right? So they actually call it zone therapy. It's like different zones on your foot, different zones in your hands that can correlate back to your body. Basically through massage, acupuncture, acupressure, you can actually alleviate like stress and tension through your body. Now, you never heard of that? Would that be something you would try? Like if you were dealing with something like that? Like I don't know if you ever deal with migraines or anything like that.
Rarely.
Rarely. There's actually a portion of your foot you can massage to actually alleviate the tension you're feeling from that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Like if your lungs are congested, like you're sick, your lungs are congested, there's actually another portion you can massage to like kind of alleviate some of that congestion you're having in your chest and stuff like that. Like there's a bunch of different areas. So yeah. How would you feel about that?
I mean, it seems interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I would give it a shot.
It's like something that's, you know, opposed to like taking over-the-counter meds. Like you can do this as an alternative to that. Cool. So now let's wrap up the interview. Get to the end of it. In terms of my approach, when I walked up and I asked you to do the interview, I know I disturbed your dinner or lunch.
You're good.
But in terms of that, like, was it good? Was it bad? What were your thoughts?
No, it was fun. I liked it. Yeah.
Okay.
It wasn't awkward. It wasn't anything like that.
Okay.
Interesting questions.
Cool. Well, now in terms of the interview, from start to finish, did you see how everything was going in the line? Did it make sense to you?
Yes.
And did you learn anything new from like the interview?
Yes, I did.
What did you learn?
I didn't know there's pressure points in your feet that could, do all that. What was it that you said?
DBT?
Yes, that one. DBT.
Absolutely.
I didn't know about that.
Okay.
It was just mostly those two.
Okay.
Yes.
Cool. So the last thing I'm going to ask you to do from a mental health standpoint, maybe a life lesson that you've learned or some wise words of wisdom that you have you can share with my channel that could be helpful to them.
Like literally anything.
Anything. Like whatever you think. Like it could be something your mom or your dad, your grandmother taught you that could be helpful to somebody else.
I can't think of any.
It could be something simple.
Really?
Yeah, whatever you want.
I don't know. My mom would always tell me like everything happens for a reason.
Okay.
Even like right now.
Yeah.
With where I want to be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? In terms of like jobs and stuff. But you know, she would always tell me everything happens for a reason. To take your time. You know, something's always gonna. You know, you're always gonna get an opportunity. You don't have to stress about it too much.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. So I think
that's great because like some parents they don't talk about that. Some parents are like trying to push their kids towards doing stuff.
Or they're like pressured.
Yeah. So it's good to have somebody who like tells you like take your time because you got to figure this life out. This is your life to live, not theirs. So that's absolutely great. Thank you for stopping. I know you were eating the lunch and everything, but thank you for stopping to like do the interview with us. I appreciate you, and we hope you have a great one. Okay.
Thank you.
All right.